In the 1920s, the historic high society marriage of John de Menil and Dominique Schellenberger was celebrated with a lavish wedding in France. The joining of the two families was a typical nexus of business as well as romance. The de Menils were a wealthy family involved in the banking industry, while the Schellenbergers were involved in the oil equipment business. The marriage created somewhat of a rich superfamily that would have many descendants. When World War II broke out, the newly married de Menils escaped to the United States. Despite being from the upper crust of society, they settled in Houston, Texas, rather than New York City. One of their daughters, also known as Christophe, was keenly interested in art. She began to put her parents onto many emerging contemporary artists of the time. The family then began purchasing what would become a massive collection. They patronized all the greats like Rothko, Warhol, Twombly, and Picasso, and donated a great deal to the city of Houston. Most of the collection is housed in a museum in Houston called the de Menil Collection. The de Menils were also major supporters of the civil rights movement and even tried to commission and donate a statue of Martin Luther King, which was denied by the city of Houston. In the 1960s, their daughter Christophe got married. Her husband was Robert Thurman, a budding Buddhist scholar. They were married for a short period of time and themselves had a daughter named Taya. Following the divorce, Thurman left the United States altogether and went abroad traveling in Asia, which helped further spark his interest and understanding of Buddhism. Later, Thurman would marry a Swedish model and actress and have several children, one of whom is actress Uma Thurman. Meanwhile, Taya Thurman de Menil Schellenberger, Robert's first daughter, married an artist and musician named Christopher Snow. Taya and Christopher had 3 children, Maxwell, Catherine, and Dash. Dash was wild and uncontrollable, pulling pranks and getting into trouble with the police. His grandmother, Christophe de Menil, chalked the behavior up to youthful exuberance, while Snow's mother, Taya, took a different opinion. When he was 13, his mother shipped him off to Hidden Lake Academy, a private school for incorrigible children in Georgia. Snow has commented on his time there by saying that it was brutal and perhaps over-the-top punishment for his youthful hijinks. Like many schools of this variety, Snow was forced to do manual labor such as digging a hole then filling it back up. It must also be noted that Snow's parents' marriage dissolved and his father became somewhat of a roaming hippie artist-musician, which was probably coupled with a substance abuse problem. After he was punished for not speaking with his family, he accepted a visit from his father. During the visit, Dash stole $80 from his wallet and escaped the institution. Snow took a bus to New York City and laid low in a South Bronx housing project. From this time on, Snow never really returned to his family, instead deciding to live as a runaway. This is where we see his first inclination towards art. It also must be noted that his grandmother became a sort of benefactor, setting up an account where she gave him some money to survive while he was living hardscrabble in New York City. Snow became friendly with the various characters of downtown Manhattan, in particular the East Village and the Lower East Side. One crucial friend he made was Kunle Martins, a fellow runaway as well as graffiti writer, skateboarder, and casual vandal. Martins was the son of a Nigerian immigrant father and an American mother. He was a talented musician and good student who disliked his parents' strict upbringing and dropped out of high school in the 11th grade. As this nexus of downtown runaways, graffiti writers, and skateboarders began to congregate, something started to happen. The movie Kids had been made only a few years before all of this in the early 90s, and the world portrayed by Harmony Korine began to be taken over by a younger generation. Leo Fitzpatrick and Harmony Korine were known associates of Snow and his friends. Snow, Kunle, and others created a graffiti crew known as Iraq. The crew itself got its name from both Snow's obsession with Saddam Hussein and the term rack, meaning to steal. Martins in particular, as well as Snow, were known to survive by shoplifting everything from clothes to food to paint cans and finally a Polaroid camera which Snow would use to document his life. Snow, however, was not interested in being an artist, so to speak, but merely wanted to remember what he had done the previous night when he was fucked up on drugs and alcohol. So, Snow and his friends lived the bohemian lifestyle in New York's East Village, taking drugs and alcohol every day, writing graffiti, and other general mischief. Snow going by his tag Sace or Sacer, and Kunle going by his tag Earsnot.
I just want like everybody to see Earsnot and like think about it like Earsnot, wow, that's like kooky, and like laugh. But like, you know, like think like a good thought, like wow, Earsnot, it's kind of funny. Or like, you know, I love when I come with something really creative and funny that like when people think about it or read it, they'll like laugh or like have people come up to me and say, you know, I saw what you did over there. That was really funny. Or like, you know, that was really good. I don't know, I like that kind of attention.
Up to this point, Snow had been living his life as a runaway, always one step ahead of the law. Snow had a deep hatred for police and authority figures of all kinds. He also had a deep mistrust of society's system and a penchant for conspiracy theories involving the government.
I'll tell you what I don't believe in. Can I do that? All right, I don't believe in the laws or the system by any means whatsoever. I try not to obey them at any time. That's what I believe in, not believing it.
Meanwhile, a young art student from New Jersey named Ryan McGinley moved into an apartment in the East Village while he was attending Parsons. Running in somewhat of the same circles, McGinley became acquainted with Snow. McGinley recalls having heard of Snow's growing legend in the downtown scene before he ever met him. On their first meeting, Snow had just finished climbing on the side of the Brooklyn Bridge and writing a massive fill-in of his graffiti tag, Sace. The two became fast friends, descending into a life of drugs, alcohol, and photography. McGinley, a gay skateboarder from suburban New Jersey, had come to New York to make it big. Always known to be driven and serious, he started taking pictures of his new graffiti friends, Snow being a common subject in his photographs. The raw and candid images of casual sex, cocaine use, and extreme intoxication documented a group of young and carefree New Yorkers. McGinley was letting the world know that New York still had a genuine youth culture and underground art scene. These images would eventually lead to McGinley to create his famous Whitney exhibition, The Kids Are All Right.